live from the J.C. Newman Cigar Studio in Boston, Massachusetts. Welcome to the Smokin Tobacco Show with your hosts, Matt Tobacco and Smokin Nicole.
And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the Smokin Tobacco Show. My name is Matt Tobacco from SmokinTobacco.com, and I am joined once again by my good friend, Mr. Mitchell Santaga of the SmokinTobacco.com as well. Mitchell, how are you?
I'm great, and of course, I'm broadcasting live from the Gurkha Cigar Studios in beautiful British Columbia. And folks, don't forget to always head over to your local retailer or favorite online retailer to check out Gurkha's brand new Gurkha Ghost Connecticut.
And I am broadcasting once again from the J.C. Newman Cigar Studios in Boston, Massachusetts. J.C. Newman has just announced that their new Angel Cuesta cigars, available in 3 sizes, and they're rolled in the American Room at the famous El Relo factory in Tampa, Florida. Will now begin shipping to retailers. Get these cigars while you can. They're expected to be probably in small quantities. I think there's only 2 rollers who make them. So they're going to be available in small quantities. Regular production, from what I understand, but just released in small amounts. So get your hands on those when you can. A highly anticipated cigar this year. So we are, and speaking of J.C. Newman and Arturo Fuente are 2 companies, 2 families, who make up the Cigar Family Charitable Foundation. So we are still currently sitting around $14,000 raised for our fundraiser. A little bit behind where I thought we would be, but there's still plenty of time. The final prizes have been gotten, sorted, and they just need to be uploaded and added. But I'll be honest with you, I've had a crazy work week this week, and I just have had no time. So trying to get caught up on that, but they should be up this week. But there's going to be around 10 or so sets of Arturo Fuente assorted cigar samplers of like Opus Lanceros, and there's all sorts of different stuff. I think there's blues in there, crazy stuff like that. And so it's a sampler of that. There's also the Dan Marino Angel Share A that we're going to be doing with some stuff. And then all of that stuff, all the cigars are going to be paired up with an accessory. So everyone's going to get, I can't remember how we're doing it, but I think if we did we do the A separately? I can't remember. But there's going to be accessories that we're going to put together with a pack of cigars. And so there's like a 20th anniversary ashtray. There's a Carlito statue. There's the big red ashtrays. There's 5 or so, maybe more, of the carbon fiber cigar holders with all the different logos on them. There's hats. There's a espresso set, the really cool espresso cups, the nice ornate ones. So like one of those items, it's just going to be at random too. It's not going to be, will be put with some of those cigars and the assorted samplers, and each of those will be a prize. So those are going to be uploaded. Our friends at Boveda, they have donated something. They put in a whole pack of, I think, a year's supply of Boveda packs, and a couple of other things. So I have to upload those, and then I think that's it in terms of prizes, unless there's anything else that kind of comes in at the end. But that's where we're at. So don't forget to get your raffle tickets. I will, as soon as I have a second, I will put the link in the comments for the live viewers. As always, for those who are watching later or listening later, the link should be in the description on the episode. If you didn't know that already, just so you know, check that. You can find the link. It'll bring you right to the page. You can either buy raffle tickets or you can just make a general donation. You don't have to participate in the raffle if you still want to donate. So appreciate everyone out there who has contributed to that. And to all the manufacturers and to everyone who's donated and to everyone on the Smokin Tabacco team, I thank you. But Mitchell, other than that, how has your week been?
Oh, yeah, it's been a good week. I've been able to get back. What was it, last week? I think I mentioned I hadn't really been smoking much, and
That's
yeah,
right.
just been smoking lots actually. Getting back on
Smoking
it.
up
I
a storm.
picked up some a brand I've never tried. I hope to get to this card soon. Some HVC. Picked up what else? I picked up
Wait, you've never smoked?
Paladin.
You've never smoked HVC?
No, we don't get it up here in Canada. So, a
Ooh,
lot of those brands are just like, things that, especially the smaller boutique brands that, maybe not every single, large retail place carries, it's sometimes hard to find. So,
Right.
yeah, really stoked to try some of that.
I saw you
Yeah,
had the
just
Paladin.
yeah, Paladin. So I got a few kind of sticks that I really enjoy and that I'm really hoping to try. Outside of that, the weather's starting to turn a bit. It's getting a little nicer here, and
We're almost touching 80 tonight, so yeah.
yeah. Some people really enjoy smoking indoors. I always love having a cigar outside. It's like although it's a luxury to be indoors, just being outside in the sun with some friends, even at night with like a fire around, that's what I love. That's just the best to me.
That's living right there. I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
Have
100%.
some barbecue, some maybe some chicken breast, maybe some ribs, maybe some
Damn, Mitchell, look at you trying to
sausage,
sell this moment right now.
It's a good time. Or maybe some grilled veggies, some grilled veggies,
Oh,
got
you're
some
starting, you're starting, you're
peppers,
starting,
got
to,
some
you're starting to
corn.
lose me. You're starting to lose me. You're starting to lose me. I'm losing the buzz on that beautiful picture you painted. You lost me at grilled vegetables. Sorry, but you're starting to lose me. It's exciting. We have a guest this week. First time on the show. Very excited to have him. He is from a small company called Black Star Line Cigars, and his name is Aric Bey. Let's welcome him to the show. Aric, how are you?
I'm good. How y'all doing?
Fantastic.
Wonderful.
Very excited to have you on the show with us tonight.
Excited to be here, brother.
I met up with you at TPE. We had finally met. You had reached out to me, and I came by. We had a show interview. We chatted. We hung out for a sec, and we talked about having you on the show. And here we are. And I feel like that was back in February, and we're already in the middle of April, and so that was almost 2 months ago. It honestly feels like it was 2 weeks ago. I swear to God. It's amazing how fast
the older
time
we get,
flies.
the faster the time flies, bro.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But no, we're very excited to have you on the show tonight. I know this is your first time.
Thank you.
So welcome to the Smokin Tabacco Show. Before we get too excited, before we get too deep, we're going to hear all about Black Star Line, who Aric Bey is, and everything that you're all about. But before we do, it is time for What Are We Smoking? Our cigars of the night brought to you by the #2guyscigars.com. That is the #2guyscigars.com for one of the best, biggest, and a most amazing selections of cigars and accessories. Visit the #2guyscigars.com. They have all of the brands that you know and love, and maybe some that you don't know, and give them a try. 2guyscigars.com. So, Aric, as the guest, what are you smoking tonight?
I am smoking the Dark Woolwich. It's the Corojo 99 version of the original Connecticut Shade Woolwich. And smoking in the Robusto size. It comes in two sizes, the Corona box press and then the Robusto. So I got the Robusto.
Very nice. I am actually smoking the Connecticut Woolwich in the box pressed size. And this is fantastic. I lit this up right away when we were still in the green room, and I was like, damn, it just hit me. I'm like, this is a great cigar. Really enjoying this. So much flavor right out of the gate. Really well balanced. A little bit of spice, a little bit of pepper. Very well rounded. But also not too dark, not too overpowering. Very enjoyable. And so far, this cigar has just been burning great, too. The construction on this is amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that looks
Aganorsa
good.
did a great job with them.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. I have a great relationship with Aganorsa Leaf.
Unfortunately, I couldn't get any of Eric's stuff over the border, but again, knowing he makes a lot of his stuff with Aganorsa, I picked up another one of Aganorsa's leaves that they do for a brand called Wart, and this is the La Hacienda.
Great cigar.
And as always, we are cutting and lighting our cigars with Cigar Blondie accessories. That's right, I have the double guillotine cutter right here. Sharp, flawless, perfect cut every single time, as well as the sleek, flat, or fan blade lighter. Very sleek, very sexy. Available in 3 finishes, chrome, white, and black, only at cigarblondie.com. So, Aric, back to you. You are now the focal point of this show tonight. Tell us a little bit about your brand. How long have you guys been around? We're in just kind of, what brought it to be? What junction did you say, hey, you know what? I'm gonna get my own brand going here.
Right. So I'm a retired Chicago firefighter, and
nice.
we've been in business. This is our 4th year in business. I started smoking full-time cigars at the firehouse. So that's when I grew my love of the leaf. So I started smoking cigars and enjoying them so much, I decided, like, hey, maybe I'll try to make a run at it and see how I do in the cigar industry. So I contacted a childhood friend of mine, asked him, did he want to help me start a line? And he said, hell yeah, let's go. So we started networking at Jonathan Drew at Drew Estate events with Jonathan Drew. I became really good friends with him, and he's the one that coached us to talk to El Titan de Bronze down in Miami. So I chased Sandy for a long time. Sandy's the owner of the factory. That's Willie Herrera's mother-in-law.
Okay.
So I chased her for a long time, and she wasn't in the factory because her mother was sick at the time. So she wasn't spending time with her. She spent the time at home with her mother. So we kept calling over a long time. And then I decided out of the blue, like, hey, I'm gonna send her some flowers just to wish the family well and to keep me on their mind. So I sent her the flowers, still didn't hear anything. It was like a couple of months after that, I just decided just to call. Like, it was like the voices in my head were like, hey, call right now. So I called, and Giselle, Willie's wife, answered the phone. And I asked for Sandy, and she was like, oh yeah, Sandy's right here. She handed the phone over to Sandy. We told her who we were, and she said, you were the nice guys that sent me those flowers a couple of months back from Chicago, right? And we said, yeah. And she said, since you all know how to treat a woman, I'm gonna do these blends for you all. And El Titan de Bronze gave birth to Black Star Line.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's purely a story of persistence, because we were having a hard time getting a reputable factory to roll for us. And I'm not the type of guy that, like, get my tax return and go buy a bunch of bundles and slap a band on it and start selling cigars saying I got a cigar company. I don't do that.
Right.
So we blended 2 cigars through El Titan de Bronze. And then I ran into Sean Williams, and me and him became very good friends. And he's actually here in Chicago now. So when I get off the interview, I'm gonna go out and hang out with him. But so Sean asked me, I went to one of his events here, and he asked me, what do you want to do with Black Star Line? And I said, I love El Titan de Bronze. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them. But due to the fact I'm buying tobacco in America, that makes the price higher. So he said, hey, what do you want to do? You want to work with Placencia? You want to work with Aganorsa? He named a bunch of factories. So I'm a fan of Kyle and Warp. And Kyle works with El Titan and he works with Aganorsa. So I say, hey, I'd like to work with Aganorsa. So Sean Williams said, hey, give me a day. I'll get back to you. So he hit me up the next day and said, hey, I talked to Terrence Riley, the VP of sales at Aganorsa for you. He's ready to rock with you. Give him a call. So I gave him a call, and he's like, hey, man, what blends are you looking for? So I gave him 2 blends. One of them is Warwick. The other one's a blend I probably would never use. I didn't really care for it. So the way Warwick is now is the way it was in sample mode. Like, I didn't have to change a thing to it. Like, it just blew my mind for it to be a Connecticut cigar. It was just a fantastic cigar from Jump Street. What I didn't know was when it hit the market that it was going to catch everybody off guard like it did. And it became the flagship cigar for Black Star Line. It's the one that got me in all the publications, Cigars and Leisure, Tobacco Business Magazine, Cigar Press. So I think people were expecting to be like a boring, mild Connecticut, and it's not. It's got a lot of characteristic, a lot of flavor, and it's got some strength to it. So it turned a lot of people that didn't like Connecticut cigars. They actually started trying different Connecticut cigars based off of what their experience with Warwick. So yeah, Warwick is my baby. I love that cigar to death. It really propelled us.
Yeah, no, this is a fantastic cigar, and I can see exactly, just by smoking this cigar, everything that you just said about it, I can see exactly that. I mean, it's got more than your average Connecticut. I think the sizes also do it. We talk about sizes a lot, and sometimes people come out and they just pick random sizes, or they pick the sizes that they like or whatever. But sometimes, and a lot of manufacturers specifically, I mean, I don't blend cigars, I don't grow tobacco, but the experience I do have is interviewing and talking with the people who do. And, it's funny, you hear people say, just Steve Saka, Jose Blanco, people like that have always, hey, like, you could have great tobacco, could blend it just right, and it could be, a fantastic cigar that flies off the shelves in every retail shop in this size and this size. And then you make it in a Toro and maybe a Churchill, or you do, a Torpedo, or you do whatever. And all of a sudden, it's nothing. And so size does matter. I mean, the size of the cigar and how much tobacco is in it affects the way it is blended. So not only do you have a great blend, but I think you get the sizes just right. They perform amazing. in this Corona size. I mean, and it has that little box press on it too. It's not it says it's not a hard box press.
It's a soft box press.
Nice
Yep.
soft box press. I think that's amazing. And like I said before, the construction's been great on it. The draw, plenty of smoke production, and the flavor has just been perfect and complex all the way through. No dull moments, no overpowering moments, just all the way through. I'm telling you, I gotta buy a box of these. I mean, this I love this cigar. This is great.
Appreciate it, brother.
Absolutely. So you mentioned working with Aganorsa Leaf. Are you working on anything right now that we could maybe see expand on the Warwitch line in the future? I know that as being such a flagship brand for you, I'd be curious to see kind of maybe what you would do with maybe some other wrapper leaves or something like that.
Yeah. Well, the follow-up version to the original Warwitch is the Dark Warwitch, and like I said, the difference between the two is it's a Corojo 99 wrapper as opposed to the Connecticut Shade.
Right.
It's the same blend. It's just a little more ligero in the Dark Warwitch.
Yeah.
So it's a little stronger than the original version is, and the Corojo 99 wrapper changes the profile of the cigar totally. Like there's more floral notes in the Dark Warwitch than there is in the original version of the Warwitch.
Absolutely.
I haven't gotten as far as if I'm going to work with another wrapper, maybe a Habano or anything for the Warwitch line.
Yeah.
Because I've been developing other blends outside of that. Because like I said, the Dark Warwitch just came out in 2022, so I'm gonna let everybody get a hold of the Dark Warwitch and the original Warwitch, and I've been developing other stuff. Because I started working with Tabacco La Isla too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I have a blend coming out through them. Well, I actually already released it for the Underground Fest in Fort Worth this past March.
Oh, okay.
It was in a Robusto size. It was Connecticut broadleaf, Dominican binder, Nicaraguan Dominican filler, medium full stick. It was a Robusto size 5x50, and it was like an extreme hit at
Sounds
the
like
Underground
right up my
Fest.
alley.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so I'm bringing it back for PCA, but this time it's going to be in a Corona size because I love Corona. So it'll be a 6x46, so it's going to be delicious in that size as well. So that'll be PCA size. I mean PCA time. I have another blend through Aganorsa coming out roughly around June. I did it for a liquor store chain called Benny's. So Benny's is just like Total Wine or Specs.
Okay.
So the difference is between all three organizations is Benny's actually has a dedicated humidor manager in all 47 locations, and I'm carried in all 47 of them.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, they dropped their top 10 for 2022, and I got number 3 and number 10. Wow. So we've been doing extremely well with Benny's. So well to the point they asked for me to do a special cigar for all the locations of Benny's. So that's the release that's coming out for them. It is called John Baptiste, and I'm naming it. I'm paying homage to John Baptiste Point du Sable. He is the founder of Chicago. He's a Haitian man that founded Chicago. So I wanted to pay homage to Chicago because Benny's and me were Chicago organizations. So it's only right that I pay homage to the man that gave birth to Chicago. So it's called John Baptiste. So it's
nice.
We're going to have a launch event actually at Benny's. Whenever the cigars make it to the States, then we'll plan out the date and when we're going to have the launch party at Benny's. It's going to be a big affair here in Chicago. For anybody that's in the area, you really want to be there.
Oh, really nice. Good to know.
Yeah, and the release from Tabacco La Isla, I didn't give it a name for Underground, but the name for when it comes out in July is called Mr. Fahrenheit. So that has a couple of meanings. I'm a Queen fan, so Freddie Mercury and Don't Stop Me Now sings about Mr. Fahrenheit in the song.
Yep.
And then also because I'm a firefighter, I'm paying homage to firefighters. So the band actually has a firefighter's helmet on the and with the mask and the oxygen mask and everything on the band. And Cigar Dojo did all my bands for Mr. Fahrenheit and for John Baptiste. Cigar Dojo does my bands, and they do a great job for it.
Yeah, they designed some nice stuff for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The third release is I'm giving you all something brand new that I haven't really said to anybody yet. That'll be coming out around PCA time or shortly after it is.
Okay.
I am doing a blend with Oveja Negra. So
wow.
Me and James Brown have something going on, and it's called Rosewood 1923. So we're paying homage to the Rosewood Massacre and all the victims of that time. And it just so happened that the 100-year anniversary just passed this January. So that's why it's called Rosewood 1923, because that's the year it actually happened. So that's a great blend, a great collaboration between Black Star Line and Oveja Negra, and it's coming out. So this is my first time ever really talking about it. I haven't even released the press release for it yet. So you got some brand new information from me today.
Wow, thank you.
Wow, and it also sounds like you get your hands full. You got a couple of things going on there. You're gonna have a busy year.
Oh yeah. We busy, bro. We're busy, man.
Yeah, it's gonna be a strong PCA.
Hey, busy's good though. Busy's really good. Sorry, Mitchell. What were you gonna say?
I just had a question. Kind of moving back to the Warwitch in terms of like naming convention. How did you come up with the name Warwitch? Because you kind of mentioned each one of your names always have this kind of story behind them, right? This homage to this, back to your kind of history. What does Warwitch? It's kind of just that kind of rolls off the tongue, but like yeah.
Warwitch is a movie, so it's about a young lady that has spiritual powers to see her ancestors. So the local army, it was filmed in the Congo in Africa. So the local army took her with them. So anytime they would get attacked, her ancestors would actually show up and warn them that they were getting ready to get attacked. So they would strategize, either fight or run. So I thought it was a dope movie. So I took the name and I ran with it. So, but yeah, so awesome. like Lalibela is another one of my cigars. Those are the stone churches that were built into the ground in Ethiopia. So there's supposed to be 12 of them. They found 11. And the 12th one is supposed to be where the Ark of the Covenant is. And if you're old enough to know, Indiana Jones found that a long time ago. So it's in a warehouse somewhere in the movie world. So, but yeah, Lalibela, it's stone churches that are built into the ground. And I thought it was a good way to pay homage to that area, because a lot of people don't even know those churches are there. So a lot of times when people are smoking that particular cigar, they'll look up Lalibela and read about it as they're smoking, and they'll learn something. Another fact about that particular cigar is that wasn't the original name for the cigar. I did that cigar for Tim Hardaway from Golden State Warriors. Me and him didn't know how to do the deal, so we tabled it. When I got enough money to bring it out, because I don't sit on good blends, I got enough money to bring it out, and I changed the name, changed it to Lalibela, brought it out, and everybody loves it. It's a great full-body cigar. San Andreas wrapper, Nicaraguan binder and filler from Aganorsa leaf.
Nice. Yeah, it sounds like nice. Your whole portfolio, you're really just kind of starting to develop and going into each different wrapper and kind of having its own brand and its own voice, right? You're kind of developing things all across the board, and the whole thing for Black Star Line is really filling out.
Oh yeah. The El Milagro were my first two releases. The El Milagro means the miracle, because I felt it was a miracle I got into the cigar industry. So I moved all production from El Titan to Aganorsa because I needed a larger factory to be able to roll for me to match the growth that I'm experiencing. So yeah, El Milagro, those are my babies. Those are the original ones that I had. And, they do fantastic as well.
It's not easy to get into the business, especially for a brand or a manufacturer. And you guys have only been around for about 4 years now, you said, right?
Yep.
So, to have that kind of growth in 4 years, I don't think a lot of people realize just how big of a deal that is for a brand. To be able to, there's brands that'll go 5, 6, 7 years, with one or two blends, working hard, but, they just don't catch on. You got a couple different irons in the fire here, and, sounds like you got some deals with some other groups and stuff like that. And, that's worth, applauding. That's a big deal. It's not easy to do. And Steve Saka did a show on the Cigar Authority with Dave and Barry and Jonathan. And I think it was it this year or last year he did it? And they did a whole thing.
I think 2 years ago.
I don't think it was that far ago. I thought it was.
It was last
recent.
Year.
And they did a show, and Steve talked about, like, hey, so, like, starting a cigar brand, like, this is what you can expect, to spend, and, like, this is what things cost, and this is what you're probably going to make if things go good. And I think it opened a lot of people's eyes. And but, we especially talk to, people who have only been around for a handful of years, and you hear their stories and you see what they've accomplished and stuff like that. It's very admirable to see something like that. So I just want to say congratulations on all your success, because it seems like you've done such an amazing job in what
Thank
is
you.
kind of relatively short for, you know, owning a brand, a short amount of
Hmm.
time. It is truly amazing.
Yeah, it's a very short period of time, and it's all based off of hard work. And I just keep grinding. I do a lot of events. I'm in 2 cities a month. I do 3 events in each city I'm in. Last year, I did roughly about 80 events. You know, so I'm on the road a lot. I'm out
Yeah.
meeting people. I'm out talking about cigars. I'm in the retailers' faces. I do everything I need to do to make myself stand out from the other thousands of cigars that are out there, because you know if people have an infinite amount of choices, you have to make yourself stand out from other people. And I do it through the factories that I use. I do it through my personality. I do it through the different type of posts I come up with for social media. You know, because quite honestly, that's what caught James Brown's eye. Was he looked at my page, and he sent me a message, and he said, "Hey man, I'm really impressed by the way you branded your page out on social media." And then you know, and this was 2 years ago. So this is how long this project has been in the making, and it's just now happening. So
Right.
he told me, he was like, "Hey, you're doing a fantastic job." And he was like, "You're a new company, and you're doing a fantastic job branding stuff out. I would like to work with you as soon as," because at the time he was upgrading his factory. So that's why it took us so long to get to where we are now. But we're
Right.
here now, so we're gonna rock it out.
Yeah, that's amazing. You know, working with some good factories. I mean, James Brown. I mean, the stuff coming out of his factory has, you know, been getting some attention lately, and I've been really impressed with a lot of the things that I've had out of that factory. Agnor Salif, you know, everybody
Hmm.
knows. Agnor Salif's a big deal. They make a lot of great stuff for themselves and for other people. Um,
Hmm.
so I mean, you work with some great factories. You got some good blends. I mean, right now things are good. You just like you said, you gotta keep rolling with it, and it's a lot of days on the road. It's a lot of events. It's a lot of shops. It's a lot of, you know, meeting with people, and it's exhausting. Do you find you know, promoting a brand and building a brand in the cigar business more work or more tiring than being a firefighter?
Honestly, yeah, because as a firefighter, I'm sure all of us are driven by fire stations all the time, and a lot of times the firefighters aren't doing anything. You know, they're just hanging out waiting for a call. And if you're working at a slow firehouse, you're not going to do anything at all. Now,
Yeah.
I was a very active firefighter, so that's why I'm retired, because I got hurt on the job. Because I've been to a ton of fires, and I've
Oh
saved
wow.
lives. I've won awards for saving people's lives. So I was an active firefighter. I didn't like go take a assignment at the airport, which they don't do anything there. You
Yeah.
know, I wanted to actually, you know, all the stuff I learned in the academy, I wanted to apply it to something. And the only way you're going to apply it is if you actually go to fires. And, you know, that's what I did before I got hurt. I tore my labrum in my hip really bad. And it was
Oh
torn so bad, I had to go through 4 doctors to find one that was confident enough to fix it. So
Wow.
after the surgery, I couldn't get back on the job in time, so they put me on duty disability. So I get 75% of my pension, and I just sell cigars now, and I talk a lot of trash. I just run my mouth, you know. So, but as a cigar owner, bro, like literally the moment I wake up, I start working. Like whether it's I'm working on a post I make, because a lot of the posts I make myself, whether they're videos and stuff. I have a videographer too that makes stuff for me. A lot
right.
of the stuff I make myself, or I reshare some stuff people have posted, you know, on their pages, and that's what keeps all the content going on the web. I'm not on the website, but on social media. But a lot of people don't realize, when it doesn't matter what industry you're in, when you're a business owner, you're working damn near 24/7. Like you just never stop working, you know. But
Absolutely.
yeah, so I think I work harder now than I do when I was a firefighter.
Yeah, I mean it's and not that it takes anything away from being a firefighter, but you're right. When you run a business, you're kind of on all the time. You know, it's there's no off the clock. There's no downtime. It's I mean, of course, you have
Right,
moments when you're not actively doing it, but
right.
you know, especially in today's day and age with technology. I mean, when you have your phone on you, I mean, you're getting emails, you're
Hmm.
getting text messages, you're getting phone calls. You know, you're seeing stuff on social media. I mean,
Yep.
you're always working all the time.
Always.
Even when you're trying not to, right?
Right,
It's like, no, I need your attention. I need you to do this, or someone needs this,
right.
and it's
Yeah.
a lot. Um,
Right.
it's it's draining. It is.
Yeah, I could be sitting in a movie theater watching a movie and replying to emails, and you know, whether it's about bands or something that's going on in Nicaragua or a customer order, because I sell on my website, I sell directly to consumers as well. So it never stops. I'm dealing with somebody in some form or fashion literally all day.
So Chris Coulter has a Warwich pairing. He says Warwich paired with Irish coffee is an amazing pairing. Use 5 Farms Irish cream and skip the Baileys. You'll thank me later.
Yeah. Chris is a
Sounds
great dude. He's been a long-time supporter of Warwich, and that is his favorite pairing for Warwich. So yeah.
That does sound good. I'm gonna have to write that one down and try that because that does sound really good. Let's take a break. Let's do the news really quickly, and then we'll circle back. Our news is once again brought to you by Micallef Cigars. If you head over to MicallefCigars.com today, you can sign up to become an official Micallef ambassador. And while you're at it, head over to Facebook and join the Micallef Ambassadors group and hang out and smoke with all of your fellow Micallef ambassadors. News from STG today. Once again, STG has another year where they're just on a roll with announcements. They've announced a few products already. They announced the return to the PCA trade show. They announced that they're buying Alec Bradley. And now they have announced that Cohiba Riviera to debut in May as full-time collection. Cohiba will welcome its first full-time new collection since 2020 with Cohiba Riviera, a 6-region blend that features the very best of Central American tobacco and is named after the lush San Andreas Tuxtla Valley that bore the cigar's wrapper. Cohiba Riviera marks the first time a Mexican San Andreas wrapper has been used in a Cohiba blend and is the first box-pressed offering from the brand. Cohiba brand ambassador Sean Williams said, Cohiba Riviera is a bold yet balanced blend of the most exceptional tobaccos from Nicaragua with exclusively grown tobaccos from Honduras. Medium to full-bodied and adorned with a delectable wrapper from Mexico, Riviera is an elegant selection offering notes of dark chocolate and coffee bean with a hint of leather and subtle cream to the finish. Very excited for this one, actually, when it comes to the Cohiba brand. This is, I think this is going to be something different in the collection. Mitchell, I'm not sure if you've being in Canada, when you hear Cohiba, by default, I'm sure you think Habanos.
Yeah.
Do you guys have the non-Cuban Cohibas up in your neck of the woods?
No, it's actually illegal for any of the non-Cuban owned, like Cuban names to be distributed outside of the United States.
Right.
I'm pretty sure because they own actually the rights all throughout the world outside of the United States. So we have no way of getting that here outside of purchasing in the United States and bringing it over. So I've actually never smoked a non-Cuban Cohiba. I don't think. Yeah. So which I know a lot of the times they're doing their stuff at El Titán de Bronce as well. Is that one also? Did it say in the press release what the factory they're using for that one?
Good question.
I know, like a lot of their higher end stuff is, but
it
because
does not say.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure what other factories they use for other like mainstay Cohiba lines, but yeah, it'd be interesting to see what they're doing to that. It's huge brand, right? Huge brand.
Yeah. It's it certainly here, and you're right. I forgot all about the whole, and that's the thing about you being in Canada. I always, for some reason in my mind, you live here in the U.S., and so I forget about the border and the laws and the shit like that. I just
have a different perspective on life. That's why I'm here.
And that's why you're here, because you wrote me back in, because my mind's doing 100 things at once. But yeah, so that is going to be a new offering this year that we look forward to seeing, and hopefully we'll
excited to try it
soon. Yeah, absolutely. We could look for that on the review list for this year for Cigar of the Year. Let's bring Aric back to the show. I don't want to leave him in the background for too long because he is the guest of the night. There he is. Just checking the comments really quickly. No, okay. So Aric, I haven't noticed. Is that the Jamaican flag in the background?
Yeah, it is.
Are you Jamaican?
So I'm not.
Okay.
My buddy Sheldon, I've known him for at least 25 years. He's Jamaican.
Okay.
And he spends so much time over here because this is my man cave here. So my wife doesn't even come out.
Yeah.
It's my detached garage. So
it's a boys' club
he
only.
spends so much. No, I mean, women can come over if they smoke. They want to smoke and drink. They can come over. That's fine. Yeah, but he spent so much time over here. He wanted to put his stamp on the man cave, so he left a Jamaican flag there. So I hung it up. So to pay homage to him, because it's like his other home. So
Okay, there you go. There you go. It's definitely so it's got a homely feel to it. You got honor your friends, and that's what it's all about.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's all about. One of the
Well,
things.
I'm on the road so much, and I'm in cigar lounges so much when I'm out of town. When I come home, I really don't want to see another cigar lounge until I go back out of town.
Yeah.
So when people want to see me, they come and see me here. So.
Yeah, that's I actually I'm remembering now. I think it was. I can't remember if I was on with him or if I was just watching the show.
Mm.
But Garrett Robinson, I think, was on a show
Oh,
or
yeah.
did a show, and
He did it from here.
And he did it from there, and because I'm like remembering the Jamaican flag, and I'm like, I feel like I remember, and I think it was you, and I think it was there, and I'm like, I feel like I remember that. He went live from there, and I can't remember what it was for, but I remember that.
That's awesome.
Yep. He was sitting right where we are right now.
I wanted to ask
Chuck,
you.
What's up?
So we've been talking a lot the last couple of weeks on both the shows. We've been talking about PCA. PCA, obviously, as I'm sure you are very well aware now, will be moving their trade show from July to March for next year.
Yeah.
And as we've been getting some people on the show, I've been starting to think more about what do people have to say. A smaller brand like yourself, I'd be curious. So. We've been getting reports that some people might be not exhibiting this July, or maybe retailers not attending this July, maybe just trying to wait a little bit longer and attending in March. What has been, from your perspective, kind of the feel of the upcoming trade show this year that was already scheduled, with now the news of a earlier trade show next year that's going to be less than a full year later? As a brand who's exhibiting, kind of what are your thoughts with that?
Well, first of all, I hate Vegas, so I only go because of the trade shows. Bro, like if it wasn't for the trade shows, I wouldn't go. I've been to Vegas enough for the rest of my life. I don't need to go. I don't. I think they moved the show too close to TPE, and I think that was done purposely because I think they want to screw TPE basically.
Okay.
I think
a little bit that.
Yeah, it's like overloading the first quarter of the year because you got Puro Sabor and Nicaragua, you got Pro Cigar, you got TPE, you got PCA now, and then whatever else is going on. So now you're dividing up where people gonna have to decide on where they're gonna go.
Exactly.
So, in my opinion, they should have had it maybe late April or maybe like May or something like that. That would have been better. But I mean, it is what it is. I'm deciding if I'm going to do TPE for 2024 or not because it's so close to PCA. I might as well just go to PCA and just do it there. And it also, for manufacturers, it messes up our production schedules for it. Because if you're trying to release something new for each one of these trade shows, and now you change the date, now you've messed up the production schedule. So like you said, you don't have a year. You have less than a year to come out with something that you want to produce new for that trade show. So I think next year I'm probably just going to do PCA and Intertabac because I did Intertabac for the first time last year.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah. That was our first time going across the pond and doing that one. So I probably would just do those two for next year. And then the years after that, just kind of gauge it and see how people are doing with the two trade shows being so close together.
Yeah, I was going to say, because when you think about it, I mean, this time next year, 2 trade shows will have already passed. And that's crazy to think about. And, we think about, exhibitors who go, and it's like, you're going to go in July. And then, that was actually, but you answered it before I even asked. It's like, what about TPE? Because it's like you have July, and then January you got a TPE, and then, like, what is it, 7, maybe 8 weeks later, you got PCA. Yeah. That's 3 trade shows in less than 12 months. That's a lot.
It's a lot. And that's for a manufacturer because, we're preparing the booths, we're transporting product in. Now, what helps me with the product is, I'm distributed by Illusione. So I don't really have to worry about it because they just bring the product with them from Reno. So I don't bother with that. But we got to make sure the booth is all set up and all the other stuff. And a lot of people don't know that's really taxing, because a lot of people, by the time they come in the show, everything's already set up. We're there when everything's just in a disarray, and everything's they haven't even put the carpet down and all that type of stuff. So it's taxing for inexpensive, because if you're spending a lot of money at TPE, then you're going to need to spend a lot of money at PCA too, and they're really close together. You know what I'm saying? It's to the point like you're not really recouping your money fast enough before the other trade show comes. So
do you find so you had mentioned that you might just skip TP and go right to the next PCA. Do you find PCA to be a better show for you in terms of exposure, sales, kind of all around? Do you think it's more worth the money in the wild than TP when you have to put those two together like that?
Yeah, I think it's because PCA is 100% cigars, whereas TPE could be some of everything, CBD and all kinds of other stuff that I don't bother with. So you get a lot of other people walking around wanting to score samples, and they'll never open an account with you. They just want to get something to smoke. Whereas PCA, you're more likely to give samples to people that will actually either place an order with you then or place an order with you shortly after the event is over. So I think PCA is better for cigars. Now, Drew Estates won't be a PCA, at least I don't think so, unless they decide to come back like STG did. But I'll miss out on like Eli DJing and the good music that's being played and all that stuff. But I don't go to the trade shows for music. I go to the trade shows to push the brand. So
right, yeah, you were right there, if I remember correctly. You were right across the aisle from Drew Estate.
Yeah, right next to him. Yep.
Yeah, you were there with Amendola. Who else was over there? It was a small group of you guys.
Yeah,
You were right there.
It was the whole Illusione area. Yeah, everybody that was tribute on Illusione was right there.
Yeah.
Apostate, Illusione, Amendola, Cavalier. That was the Illusione area. So.
Yeah, that was.
Now you mentioned Illusione for U.S. distribution. Do they also do international distribution for you guys? Because you mentioned going to Intertabac, or is that like just depending on what countries you have to go to for that?
No. So over in Intertabac is like each country has their own distributor. Yeah. So that's a whole different beast. It's a whole different trade show. Whereas
what other countries are you in?
None. Just here right now. Okay. So we haven't gotten any orders from Intertabac. We were told over there that they move extremely slow. Everybody that sampled the cigars, they loved them, but I have to play the game with them and wait and see who's going to pick us up. I was told by David Blanco that he had to go to the show at least 4 times just to get an order. So to show you how slow they move. So I think this time we're not going to get a booth. We're going to go and walk around and pass out samples and still network with the same people, because from what I understand, they want to keep seeing your face to let you know that you're actually a reputable brand and that you're going to be around. They don't want to pick up your product and then the next thing you know, you're out of business. So they want to keep seeing you, keep seeing your face, keep trying the product and that type of thing. So to keep the cost down, I think we're not going to do the booth. We'll go to the event and then just network and hang out. Aganorsa is actually going to do the same thing. They're not going to have a booth. Terrence told me that they're going over and they're just going to walk around and you just network with people. So I'm going to do the same thing this time. Just save some money.
Yeah, for sure. Hopefully one day the Smokin Tabacco team can head on over to Intertabac. That'd be super cool to experience that show.
Yeah, it's a good event. I ran into Jonathan Drew over there, and he was really surprised I was there. And I was like, bro, I'm working hard. You shouldn't be surprised I'm there. I'm working hard as hell. I'm working just as hard as you did when you were, really on the boots on the ground with Drew Estates. So I was like, it's no different. So don't be surprised. I'm doing what you did.
Of course.
Yeah, Intertabac is an interesting one. We've talked about going, maybe not doing media coverage, but just going, for the networking and to kind of see what it's all about. But I've heard of more and more brands talking about, making their first trip to Intertabac, and, I'd be curious to see how that continues. I know that one is like mid-September, I want to say that show is.
Yeah, I think I looked up.
It's like September 16th. Yeah, September 16th, somewhere in there.
So, hey, at least it's not in the log jam in the first quarter.
I know, right?
But
Just
no, I
trying to
mean,
shove everything at us
you
in a
brought up a
couple
good
months.
you brought up a good point, and we've been talking about it ever since. I mean, look, at the end of the day, Scott Pierce said, "Look, there's never going to be a perfect time for the trade show," and he's right. I mean, you're not going to do it in quarter 4 in the holiday season. That's not going to happen.
Right, right.
Q3, you know, when you start, like July where it is, nobody wants to be in Vegas when it's 120 degrees, in most places. I mean, Florida, New Orleans has been talked about. Nobody wants to go there in July either. I mean, it's just as,
Yeah,
hot, and if not, it's stickier because of the humidity that those states have. So then you start to look at, Q1 and Q2. I mean, you're not going to do it right out of the
yeah,
gate. So that leaves quarter 2, like beginning
right.
of quarter 2 into quarter 1, and it's like there really is no perfect time. But I guess when push comes to shove, in the long term, hey, this is what people wanted, and we'll see how it goes. And
Yeah.
hopefully it doesn't, as far as TPE is concerned, I know you mentioned like, look, they kind of like stuck it to TPE. I think that
Yeah.
was to be expected. But you're
Hmm.
right. It's like Puro Sabor and Pro Cigar, which are, not trade shows. Those are other events, that
Yeah.
obviously
They're
are
big events, though.
they're big events.
Hmm.
They're not quite as attended, I don't think. But
Okay.
there's still a big deal, right? I mean, it's bigger than your average
Yeah.
like cigar festival. I mean, it's big. And I know that's also the other interesting thing about that is, in addition to just those two events, and of course, if you follow Cuban cigars, the Habanos festivals that time. But a lot of
Hmm.
factories do their public tours at that time. Like I know Perdomo does it like January, February.
Oh
Most
yeah.
most of them do at that time. I mean, that's the peak time to go down and visit a factory and a farm. I mean, that's all the tobacco's in the field. It's all grown. It's they're in harvest. So I mean, that's a big time to go see a factory. So when you got people who are trying to figure
Indeed.
out a trade show and going down to see a factory, and it's a lot to juggle. So like I said, I guess we'll see how it goes. But hats off to you guys for having to really deal with the logistics on that. We're just media. We just show up with a camera. You guys, like you said, you
There
guys
you
got
go.
products you're developing and scheduling and all of this, and it's difficult. And hopefully, once it has a few years to kind of get in motion, people can kind of get their schedules right. But I'm sure we'll see, like you said, production on certain things. Maybe PCA 24 isn't as much of a release show because people just don't have things that are ready to go.
Right. Right. Yep. Yeah, because
So
actually the last TPE, I didn't display anything new. I just brought the existing line. We
right.
still did well, but I know in this industry everybody's looking for something new. So
Yep.
that's why the new stuff is coming out for PCA. You know, and like I said, I'm not coming with one. I'm coming with two this time. So
Yeah, you're
yeah,
coming. You're coming heavy. You got a couple of ones in the chamber there. That's awesome.
yeah.
Um, so sorry, I just had to like catch my breath there for a second. This cigar, this cigar is fantastic. I am getting
Oh,
almost.
thank you,
I'm
brother.
almost down to the band. It has continued to be just
Yeah.
spot on. The flavor in the
Hmm.
cigar has not dropped off. It hasn't gotten too hot. It hasn't gotten too deep. It's been very consistent. Changes, but very consistent, and it's just equally enjoyable as the first puff. Mitchell, are you still smoking the what was it
The
the warp?
La
La
Hacienda by
Yes.
Warp.
Hacienda.
Yeah, it's been good as well. Good construction, good flavor. Um, yeah, Aganorsa always, they have good tobacco, and so they're always making good stuff. So it's
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
yeah, it's burning well. I'm enjoying it. I
Yeah.
can't wait to
I'm
get my
fortunate
hands
to
on
be
some
affiliated with
Black
them.
Star line. Yeah, I can't wait to
Yeah.
try some of those new blends. Like I said, we'll be down to PCA. Definitely get some of our hands
Ah,
on
yeah.
those, and we'll see how they
Indeed.
perform.
That's true, Mitchell.
Yeah,
You'll
indeed.
be at PCA, so I mean, you get to see Aric. You get to go by the booth, maybe get some
Yeah,
samples.
Hmm.
I don't know. So you'll
Yeah.
definitely
Have a
get to
drink
try
with
it
us.
there.
yeah.
Absolutely. You guys
Uh,
got drinks in the booth?
talk about
Oh, of course. Oh, yeah. It's always
what are you
bottles in
sipping
the
on
booth.
right now? Actually,
I have Woodford Reserve Double Oak right now. Let me
Oh,
see if I can get the
nice.
camera. Yeah, there you go.
It's a
So,
it's a solid pour. Always great go to. I love double oaked.
hmm.
I like
Oh
Woodford
yeah,
Reserve. I did not like the double oaked. Nothing against it. It just wasn't my palate. But Nicole loves it. I mean, that's
yeah.
one of her favorites. She loves the double oaked.
I
Okay.
Um,
I find it's a sweeter pour than the original.
Yeah, slightly. Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't drink a lot of Woodford Reserve. I'm more of a Scotch guy that dabbles with bourbon.
Okay.
Sundays here in the man cave is Black Star Line Church, so it's our day drinking. So everybody that's free comes through and day
Easy
drinks
sell.
with us until they can't take it anymore and they leave. So somebody left a bottle of this double oak with me, so I'm just indulging and knocking it down. So,
Yeah, gotta
Nice.
put it away.
What kind of
oh yeah.
scotches do you prefer?
I am historically a peaty guy, so Aric Bey, Lefroy, Kalila, I love them. Lagavulin, I love them. But I drink all scotches. My favorite distillery is Bruichladdich. Like there's nothing that Bruichladdich makes that I don't like. So everything is usually right at about 100 proof, and all of it's just delicious. It doesn't matter what expression that they have. The Bruichladdich Classic Lottie is actually the pairing for my sun-grown Habano, El Milagro cigar. So I have pairings for all my cigars because literally since I'm retired, that's all I do is I smoke and I drink, So
Living the
so I
good life.
I became pretty good with putting different spirits with different tobaccos. So
Yeah, it's one of my favorite things to do. I would say is definitely smoking and pairing. I am kind of the opposite. I'd say I'm more of a bourbon guy that dabbles in Scotch.
Gotcha.
I haven't found peat really sits with me well, especially
Okay.
the Lefroy stuff and the Ardbeg.
It's acquired taste.
Some of the lightly peated stuff. I like kind of the depth that it adds. But yeah, definitely love me some pairings. That's I love
You're
bourbon.
probably like do you like Lagavulin?
I actually do one of the only like heavy peated that like I've had a Laga 16, and it was a nice pour. It was a very, very nice pour.
Okay. So you'll probably like Bruichladich's Port Charlotte 10, PC10 for short. It's lightly peated,
You know what?
sort of like Lagavulin, but it's good.
I think I might have had that. I think a friend might have given me a sample of that as well.
In fact, I got a bottle of it here. That's let me get the camera. That's the bottle there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's PC10.
Bruichladdich is really just a whiskey drinkers distillery. Like I feel like everything they distill there is really to cater towards the connoisseur. They're definitely not that like mass market pour. It's really out there to, like you said, a lot of stuff kind of encroaching 100 proof. It's got nice proof to it. It's got good depth of flavor, and it's not easy on the wallet either, unfortunately, with Bruichladdich.
Yeah, it's usually around $80 or so, depending on what bottle you get. If you get
That's
like
true,
Octomore now, you're going up to like
Yeah,
200s and up.
That's exactly
so.
yeah. Everyone knows
That's,
the Octomore
that's like their
stuff.
high end line. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
but it
also
can get pricey
noticed-
depending on where you're buying it from.
Definitely. I also noticed on your Instagram, you always have such awesome dapper style. You always have a sweet hat on. A nice suit going. Do you find like kind of men's fashion is something you kind of like go towards, or is that something you just kind of do it for the cigar industry?
I do like fashion a lot, but if you catch me, like if I'm around the house, I'm usually in workout clothes. Like today, I got on a polo and some shorts. So, if I'm around, I don't have a hat on. And the funny thing about it is, I could be out at a lounge, like say here in Chicago, I could be out in a lounge, and if I don't have my hat on, nobody recognizes me, and I love it. I love it because I could sit there and I could enjoy a cigar, and nobody's coming up like, "Hey man, why don't you tell me about your line?" And I'm like, "Dude, I don't really. If you want to hear about that, listen to one of my interviews. Like I'm just here, I was trying to get outside the house and go smoke,
Of course.
But yeah, no, like at events, I dress for the events. Even my cutting lights, I dress for my events. It's my way of letting people know I am the owner. I may not be wearing some Black Star line, but you can tell by the way I'm dressed. I'm probably higher up in the company in some form of fashion. So, yeah, but I have a nice collection of hats and that thing. So, and I always base my outfit off of whatever color my hat is going to be, and I dress down. So,
yeah, I love the hat accessory. It's awesome.
Thank you, brother.
I'm just lighting up the Dark War Witch cigar right now.
My man.
So I finished the Connecticut. And now I'm eager to get to the next one now, so I'm going right into the next one. So now I'm excited. This one also different
It's a
flavor.
Corona too?
Yeah, same size, same size.
Okay.
I also like this one too. This one has a little more sweetness to it, and
Yeah.
a
It's
little
the
bit.
Corojo 99 wrapper.
Yeah. So you get it right away, right off the foot. You taste that. Also, just like the Connecticut. I mean, it's full of flavor, and so I mean, I've only had a couple puffs, but we'll see how it goes. But I anticipate same level of construction, consistency.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited to try this one too. I'm gonna go through both of them tonight. Why not, right? It's
Yeah, there you go.
why not?
You
It's a
know
good
what's
night.
funny? What pairs with that cigar? The pairing I have for it is Willet Pot Still. But surprisingly, I hate gin to the fullest.
Really?
But surprisingly, Room 101 gin goes fantastic with the Dark Warwich.
I
Like
somehow I
I
knew
couldn't
you were gonna
believe it.
say that.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. It complements the floral notes in cigar with the floral notes in Boofy's gin, and I'm actually mad I don't have any. I'm looking over at my other table. I don't have any more Room 101 gin, so I'm gonna have to hit Boofy up and tell him to send me a bottle or two. Because he, that Boofy is my brother. Like me and him, like we're so close, and I love him to death. And he loves Black Star Line, and he told me at TPE, he was like, dude, I'm honorary Black Star Line because I'm pushing just as hard as you are for you to win. So yeah, like the support I've received by other owners, and I've gained their respect due to the blends I put out, and because before I did this, is the part I left out when I was seeking out getting into the cigar industry. I went and talked to a lot of owners, like Skip and Mike from Roma Craft.
Yep.
They talked to me about tobacco. Actually, Mike Rosales was just sitting in my garage 4 days ago, sitting here smoking with me. He was in town, and when he was done doing his visits, he came by the house and came and smoked with me. So he's a good friend of mine. Pete Johnson, he gave me a lot of advice. Lito gave me a lot of advice. So I not only was persistent about being in the cigar industry, but I also went and did my homework and talked to other owners to get their blessing to come into the industry. And surprisingly, this industry is so loving. Like I never got not one owner try to discourage me from coming into the cigar industry. Because what I found out was they want new blood, new good blood to come into the industry because all it does is help keep pushing the industry forward. And it helps people to keep trying different cigars and keep smoking, you know what I'm saying? So, and trying different things. So I'm very fortunate to have a lot of good friends in high places, you know.
No, I mean,
Especially, go ahead, Matt.
no, you go ahead. No, you go ahead.
I'm sure they can see the passion behind it, right? When you go to them and you ask the questions and you're looking to explore and stuff like that, you're not just wanting to, like you said, find a bundle and throw a band on it. You're putting in the time, the effort. You've got your boots to the ground. You're, like you said, it's taken 2 years to come out with a blend with Ovea Negra, and you're wanting to put quality behind it so that there's long lasting sustainability and to put a good name behind the industry and everything it represents. So I'm sure everyone who you've talked to can see that and notice that, and
and to build on my persistence story, this is a part I haven't said either, but April 5th is me and James Brown anniversary, because on April 5th of 2018 I reached out to James. I didn't have a factory or anything. I reached out to James Brown via email to ask if I could do blends through his factory, and he told me no. So,
Wow.
but my hard work and persistence to be in this industry, I got his attention anyway, and here we are. So for anybody that's listening and you're thinking about starting a cigar industry, don't get discouraged. You have to keep working hard. You have to be persistent. And you have to hear people tell you no in order to get to people to tell you yes. So, and even when they tell you no, eventually they're going to say yes. Even if it's a couple of years later or 4 years later, it doesn't matter. They're going to, if you're putting out good product and you're putting in the work and you're doing what you need to do to make the cigar industry grow, people are going to want to do blends with you. The factories are going to reach out. They're going to do everything they can to try to get you to work with you. So,
Yeah, it's so true. I mean, most people who listen to our show know about how my relationship with Coop started, and that was in 2020
Oh, that's my buddy too.
when the
Yeah,
when the
Coop's
show
a good dude.
when the show first
Yep.
started. I sent him an episode, not because he was Cigar Coop, just just trying to share with everyone. And he sent me back this thing. He was all fired up. He's like, you're sending me this episode. You're competing with my show, this and that. And I was like, damn. And he was like a dick. And 3 years 3 years later, I mean, Coop's been at my wedding. We do a show together every week. You know what I mean? So I mean, it happens. You start off, they be like, nah, I don't want to do anything with you, and then some time goes by, and and then you're doing stuff with them. So it's true. It does happen.
So, I met Coop. When did I meet Coop in person? I met Coop in person 2 years ago, maybe. I took my daughter down to see the Big Rat down in Orlando.
Oh, nice.
And I was going to be on the Cigar Hustler podcast. So I showed up, and I was just sitting at the bar drinking beer and hanging out. And Coop was there, and I gave him a Warwich, and he smoked it right there. And he was like, the same thing you said, man. He was like, dude, this thing is delicious, So, and then that moved on to me being on his show. I was on his show like a year ago or so. So it's getting to the point it's time for me to make another appearance on Coop's show. So but he's a great dude, man. I'm really, like I said, I'm fortunate to know all of you all because I'm just a low life firefighter, bro. That knows a little bit about tobacco, and I work hard. So.
Well, that's very humbling to say, and being a firefighter is also an honor. So don't sell yourself short.
Yeah.
I mean, thank you.
No low life there.
I don't live in Chicago, but thank you for your service as someone who's in the public, helping people and saving lives. I mean, that's a big deal. I mean, that's definitely something to be proud of too. So don't sell yourself short on that. But yeah, no, I mean, you've made some great strides, and you've been very successful so far, and I'm also excited to see where you go. Your cigars are great. They are delicious.
Thank you, brother.
I can attest to that too. So I do wish you nothing but the best, and I'm excited to see what else you do. You get some good ones here. I can already imagine what you're working on.
I can't wait to get my hands on some of that broadleaf, man. I love broadleaf.
Oh
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Broadleaf's good stuff.
Yeah, that blended. I was a little apprehensive to deal with Tabacco La Isla. Now Kyle started doing work with them. And what people don't know, Ostos is the owner of the factory, and Ostos is Terrence Riley's cousin. So I can't get away from Terrence for nothing. I don't know why. But,
no, you can't. He's the great white gringo. You can't get away from him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's Joel Osteen. Yeah, he's a really big Joel Osteen. So but Terrence is my brother. I love him to death. I text him. I normally have a foul mouth, so I haven't said anything like I normally say, but I text Terrence almost every day and tell him "fuck you," just to let him know I love him. So let him know I haven't forgotten about you, bro. I'm thinking about you.
Yeah.
So, but no, Terrence is a great dude. I love him to death.
How can you not like Terrence Riley? I mean,
the man rocks a polo and khaki. Like, it's just you can't even stop the man. Just.
The thing about Terrence Riley? Terrence Riley makes the most simple things so exciting. You know what I mean? He doesn't have to be over the top. He doesn't have to be loud. He doesn't have to be obnoxious. He doesn't have to do crazy things. He just is a regular dude who does his thing, and he does it well, and he does it just kind of with that, and he's just, that's what makes him cool. He's the man.
I was really surprised about him was I was doing some events in Denver, and he just so happened to be in the city at the same time as me. So we hung out at I caught the latter half of a dojo show, and he was on it. So I hopped on the last part of it, and then we drank for the rest of the night. I had no idea that Terrence could put back some whiskey like that. Like I was really impressed. I didn't know he had it in him, but he does. So.
Yeah, Terrence Riley is one of those people that I've slowly learned over the years, like, never underestimate Terrence. Like, he's a champ.
Right. Oh, yeah.
And, we've talked a lot about, you guys work with Aganor Salif. Aganor Salif, last year I feel like they did a lot of rebranding and stuff with their
Yeah.
packaging, and I feel like this year we're gonna see some different things and newer and bigger things from Aganorsa Leaf. So I'm
Yeah.
excited to see
Yeah.
what they do this year as well, because it is a company that I do enjoy, and I feel like the last couple of years it's been kind of quiet, but I hear them coming back with full steam this year and doing some new stuff. So I'm excited to
Oh yeah.
see if and what they do, and
Hmm.
being ready for that. But we are getting towards
Oh
the end
yeah.
of our show here, so we are going to wrap up.
Indeed.
But before I do sign off on the show tonight, Aric, I want to thank you for being here with
Hmm.
us. Thank you for
Thank you.
thank you for your time. We appreciate it. And anything that you want to say before we wrap up the show tonight?
As I always say, thank you for anybody that's ever supported us or even thinking about supporting us, because I can't smoke all these cigars myself. So the driving force behind Black Star Line is the people that are buying the cigars, they're smoking them, and they're talking to people about the cigars to get the name of Black Star Line out. And one thing I did leave out before we go is I named Black Star Line after Marcus Garvey Shipping Company. So a lot of people know about Malcolm X and Martin Luther King, but a lot of people don't know about Marcus Garvey. So I wanted to pay homage to him. He had a shipping company, and his idea was to ship goods and people back to Africa. He was buying dilapidated ships, so he couldn't make it that far. So when he made it to the islands, so that's my way of paying homage to him, and my way of saying I'm going to ship tobacco worldwide and not just United States. I will be overseas eventually. So I'm keeping his dream alive by shipping goods all over the place.
Wow,
So,
that's amazing.
yeah.
So,
And if you all want to support us, you can go to blackstarline.shop. You can buy directly from me, or you can go to the retailer shops. So Black Lion Luxury was in the comments. Black Lion Luxury is a great place. It's Harrisburg Beer and Cigars in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. It's a fantastic place to buy cigars from. You can buy from there, or Small Batch, or Underground, Pravada. We're in a lot of online places, and we have a retailer page where you can find a local brick and mortar to where we're carried at. And if we're not carried somewhere near you, go to your local lounge and tell them you want Black Star Line in there, and we'll reach out to the lounges, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. Check out Black Star Line Cigars today. I think you're going to be very excited that you did. These cigars are fantastic. So, Aric, thank you for being on the show. Guys, once again, don't forget to check out our Cigar Family Charitable Foundation fundraiser, which still has about 2 weeks left. With 2 weeks from tonight as when that ends, and we'll have our celebration show with whatever the final total ends up being. And we'll talk about all the prizes and whatnot. There is no Spare Notes this week. Spare Notes will return next weekend. And next week, I am not going to say because it has not been 100% finalized yet, but we may have some very special guests on the show. And that's all I'm going to say. So stay tuned for that. We will get that news out as soon as I have confirmation. And with that, that's going to be our show this week. So thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And as always, you can visit smokintabacco.com for more news, reviews, and other updates from the cigar industry. And we'll see you next week. Take care.
see ya.